Good evening, everyone. And this is the most important feature or known feature by many people in Excel. This is pivot table, and this is the long-awaited video by my subscribers. They requested me to do this when I did my second or third video for the channel, and I made you wait for a long time. I'm really sorry about that. Let's go ahead for this. This is video number 13 on Excel Beginner Series. This is Vinod from myself Academy, and we are going to see how to work with pivot table. Today, we are going to see three different logics. Again, pivot table have evolved phenomenally great in the latest versions. Again, the old versions, we still have some uh, glitches in there, some niggles in there. So we have to really carefully handle it. I'm using it in the latest version. So I'm going to do something which is great. So I'll explain you what are the components that may not come in the previous versions. The slicer is the one which is introduced only in 2010 version and above. Before that, we don't have slicers. We only have pivot table and pivot chart. But in latest version, so we can improvise the pivot chart. And in this scenario, I'm going to just start with a very simple logic, first like a basic pivot table. Then I'm going to show you how to use a real-time data to make a beautiful, a wonderful dashboard using a pivot table. And that pivot table's dashboard is going to be an interactive dashboard. And probably many people say there is an advanced pivot table. You do have a lot of features in a pivot table. Probably if you learn this, probably you are ready to go for advanced pivot table. Before I begin, when I want to work with a pivot table, so I need to remember the following component. So these are the rules that I have to keep in my mind to work with a pivot table. I need a header and I need a proper data set, no blank headers at least. If possible, some non-blank rows is there means and columns are not there, then that is nice. If you have so, you can either add a zero or you can remove it if it is possible. So again, these sort of data are not available currently to a greater extent. I won't say it completely is eradicated. Still, it has become much better. But if you have a situation like this, then what you do? Now I'm going to go back and build a small raw data by myself. So I'm going to give a big data. I'm going to just make it a very small data. I'm going to use very smaller components. So these are the dates that I have in here, and I wish to add some sales to it. So I'm going to just give a 15-day breakup here. I'm adding some values, and I'm going to add another value in here. So let me make it a little better. So I'm just adding a value. Now you can see that I just built a small data here. And this is the data that I'm going to use for the basic pivot table. When I deal with pivot table, and pivot table, as I said earlier, it evolved phenomenally. In the older versions, it was a little nagging and it has some glitches in it. Again, still, I feel there are a few glitches in it, but again, how it is improved or how it's going to be better in the versions that we want to face in the future will be far better. If you want to work with a pivot table, you are about to use the insert tab function. So when you go to the insert ribbon, and you can see that the first logic itself is called pivot table, and you don't see the recommended pivot table in your older versions. These recommended pivot tables are started only from 2013 version. Before that, we don't have that. The 2010 version is different. They have the pivot table there, and you have a lot of improvements have happened in 2013, 2016, and so on. Let's see how to do this. So again, I've just made a data here, and then I have converted that into a value. So there is no more formula in it, because when I built it with a formula. I don't want it. Now, if I have a situation, so I said that I have a rule here. My header is must. So you can see that the first rule, two rules have been applied for this data. So I don't want to really worry about the third one. Second one covers the third option also. But if I have a data like this is where my real headache starts here. If I receive a data something like this, and I'm going to be really pissed off. If there is no sales in it, I'm fine, because sometimes I might not have a sale, but I had a sale or I have a sale in my data. If that sale doesn't have a date, then that's going to irritate. So we need to literally dig down, and this has to be done on a regular basis. And if this is missed, we need to really fight with our people and get it done. Generally, managers of a sales part will have a very difficult situation when they see some data like this. They cannot able to give anything productively in here because they don't know what date the sale have been made. 13,750. I don't know what is the date of it. 4625. I don't know what is that date. So if there is a value is there, then again I have to be very careful what I have to do here. If there is a null value, I'm okay with that. So I can either remove that line and then I can start working with the pivot table. It's going to be something relevant to our data. And please, when you have a data, let's have a data as clean as possible. We don't always get 100% data here, but here and there is quite okay with me. Now, if you see I have a data in here, I'm going to create a pivot table. Again, you have a lot of keyboard shortcuts here. If you're using in 2003 version, then you will be using Alt TP is the keyboard shortcut. If you're using 2007 and 10, then you're about to use a keyboard shortcut called Alt NVT. This is the keyboard shortcut that you will use if you're using 2007 or 10. And if you're using 13 or 16 or 19 or Office 365, probably you might end up with one shot of this formula. So you don't want Alt NVT and Alt NV will do. Again, each and every formula have a different logics here. So when I place my cursor anywhere in this list, as my data are continuous and perfect, so I don't want to worry about it, whether the data are all going to be covered or not. So all my data will be covered. So I'm going to give an Alt DP first. See, this is the 2003 pivot table wizard or the pivot table pop-up to work around. So you can see a lot of things here. It's a little different. If I use Alt ENV here, the half the way formula itself will give you for 2007 and 10. But again, if I use 2007 and 10, then I'll use Alt NVT. If I'm using 2013, 16, 19, Office 365, then I use Alt NV. That is enough for me to go ahead. But if you see, when I use an Alt DP functionality, I had a multi-consolidation range. That was one line I had earlier. When I use the latest version, probably I don't have that. But again, I have a different logics here. So I have a use an external data, and you can see use this workbook data model. Again, if this data is added to my data model in analytical logicalities, probably this will do even better. So again, I'm not going to go too deep into these logics. I'm going to just go ahead with how to create a pivot table. So I'm giving a basic here. So as we go forward, we can see this pivot table in a bigger way. And when I go for Excel series 2.2, I will be doing a separate series on each and every topic in a detailed manner. Now I'm going to build a pivot table in the same sheet itself. Generally, when you build a pivot table, we have our raw data separately and we will have our final data separately. For the first time, I'm just trying something different. I'm trying to put them in the same sheet. There's nothing wrong in it, but again, if you're dealing with the sensitive data, please don't do that. Better to keep it in two different sheets. It's always better to work on. If you make any changes, because if you are having it in a different sheet, you don't accidentally do any mistakes. If you are having the same sheet, there is a chance, higher chance rather, to unwantedly or by mistake, I accidentally, we may do some kind of corrections to our raw data itself. So I'm about to create the pivot table in here. So I'm going to just mark this point, and then here I'm going to add my list. So I'm going to place the cursor in here. I'm going to say Alt NV. Now it asks you a question here. So your data are selected properly. So you can see that where is the data range and the table that you are about to choose. So this is the date of range and table that you have. It is asking you a question: would you like to add it in a brand new worksheet, or would you like to put it in the same worksheet? So if you are putting it in the same worksheet, choose the same worksheet and please choose the range where you want to place it. This is the most important part. Many people will say that existing worksheet and then they don't touch that location at all. So location is the more important part where you want to start your pivot table. That's the most important logic in here. I'm going to just give an OK. I'm going to leave this last option called add this to a data model. The data is not that big. Adding this to a data model is not required. If you're using a latest version, probably you will get this. If you're using probably 2013 or maybe 16 and above, you can see this, add this data to the data model. If you're using a lesser version than this, probably this line will not be there in your pivot table options. So when I give an OK, then immediately you can see that it is going to give you a small logic here called pivot table 1. And I want to just show you the top screen here. You can see a table, pivot table analysis here, and a design is here. And on your right, you can see pivot table field list. So what are the data that you have here? All of them are shown here. The pivot table 1 shows this is where your data is going to be fed. We call this as pivot cache. This is where our data will be added. So when I remove my cursor from pivot cache, you can immediately see that my pivot table field list, which showed earlier on to my right, and on top you saw 2 more additional menus have gone. So when I place my cursor again back to pivot cache, you can see all of them are coming back again. So sometimes what happens is people tend to close this and they want this. Even if my cursor is here, pivot table tools will not be coming up because I closed the field. So I'm going to give a right click here and I'm going to say show field list. So it automatically adds that field list back to my list. If you are accidentally or you forgot by mistake, you close it, then you can definitely do this. And again, the latest version have a lot of excellency. So when I give a tick mark in my date, you can see automatically it gives you one more field by itself. This was not there in our previous versions. If you go to 2010 version or below version, you have to manually group them. Here, the grouping is happening automatically. I don't know why Excel is not doing this part because the row label. Still, Excel has a glitch in it. Sometimes it's properly changing to the respective headers. Most of the time, it shows a row label here. But again, it has to be something else here. I want that has to be either a month or a date. So when I uncheck the date column here, you can see that the months alone is available here. And you can see that my earlier data showed us month. When I click this plus, you can see the drill down option of it. You can drill it down to the last date for these respective months. And I can add a sales here and you can see the total sales on top. And you can see the daily sales on the breakup. If I don't want a daily breakup in here, I'm going to just uncheck the dates, which shows the consolidated sales. What is a pivot table? Generally, many people will question me in that way. They say that what you will do with this. This is my master, and I really, I should say this because this is the guy who given me what is actually all about. Now my channel is running because of this guy. I thank Mr. Mike Griffin, and he's an Excel wizard, or maybe something else beyond that. He is running his own channel called Excel is Fun. He gave me this topic to me, and he gave me this logics to me. So it says calculation of criteria. This is what he said to me. So I'm a big follower of him, and this is what a pivot table does. Now that's what I did in my pivot table in here. You can see that I have done a monthly consolidation of my data. So I have a breakup of all this data in here, and you can see that I have this component consolidation. Now I wish to make them look even better. So I don't want a row label. If it is a month, it would be nice to do that. I'm about to use the top option. I'm going to go back to my, place the cursor in the row label and then go back to my design. Then I'll say report layout and show in tabular form. So I want to see how the table is showing me this data as. Now it showed me the list. And if I want to change this to another better point, now I can either, now the data shows as a summation here. If you want to change this to some other calculations, like we did in our previous video, like sum count, average, max, and min, you can do that by just giving a right click here. I can show the summarization by the following point. You can either make it a sum, count, average, max, and min. And if you change this, Excel automatically understands the header name by itself, and then it changes to the data automatically. But I wish to keep them as sum itself, but I want only the name as sales. If I want to change this, this is where our next logic comes into play. And I can either choose one cell here or I can choose all of them. But what I want is, if this is a data that is going to grow in the future, then I don't want to do this formatting again. If that is the case, then I will not do it manually. I will do it by giving a right click here and I'll go to value field. You can see that it's giving you a value field settings in here, and I'm going to give a backspace here. I'm going to say sales and try to give an enter. Then immediately it shows. Because when I change my header, you can see the source name is sales, and I cannot repeat the same name in the custom. Again, computers, what we found, so we can do whatever we want to do. If you want a different name, you can name it differently, or if you want to just try to give a cheat code or something like that, just hit a space bar in here. So now the system will not shout at you, and it's going to accept the sales. But I don't want to just change the headers here. I want to add a rupee symbol to my numerical value. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my number format, and I'm going to select the currency or accounting, and I can give an OK. As I'm using the original OS of Windows, so automatically you can see that the symbol pops up here. Most of the offices do have an original Office 365 versions nowadays, and if you are using a pirated version, probably you might get a dollar symbol in here. That's fine. We don't want to worry about it. So you can give a rupee symbol here if you are using a pirated version. Still, you are not switched to the latest version. That's a sad news, but again, not everybody can afford it. But again, if you try to afford it, you will be doing a great job by making things better. So if I want to use rupees, you won't get the symbol here. That's a problem. What you can do is, instead of using that, you can just go back your value field settings and you can go back to your number format and you can search for the rupees here. So you will either see INR at the bottom. You can just go back down here and you can give INR here, or you can just try to find out rupee symbol on top. So you'll be having Indian rupees will come into play. So again, you have now the rupees have changed here. So Excel have updated it. So now it shows in a very different way: Punjabi in Pakistan, Arabic rupees, Urdu Pakistan, and Tamil Sri Lankan rupees are given here. So anyway, let's take that as a rupee and add it. So we all use rupees here when we are using a South Asian country. So now we can see a rupees here. This is possible even if you are using a pirated version. I'm sorry to say that. Try to convert them as early as possible, so that is gonna make you better, and you can use much advanced features available in pivot table. So now I've done my pivot table for the monthly list. If I don't want this to a monthly list, then I can just add a date and I can remove the months. I can see whatever I'm seeing in here. Only the difference here is I have some formatting happening and my dates are changing. Now we can see that my headers have automatically changed. I just used a design report layout earlier. So when I choose the month, it gave me the month. Now it's automatically updating into date. If I uncheck this and add this to a month again, you can see its name is changed automatically. This is how we'll create our pivot table. Now I'm about to create a pivot chart. Let me close this pivot table fields. And to add a pivot chart, you can use a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to teach you next is pivot charts. So to add a pivot chart, I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut Alt F1. Place your cursor in your pivot table, hit an Alt F1. You can get your pivot table out of that. Again, when you're using a chart, there is a lot of tool that we are about to learn. I'm going to give a small tip when you're using a chart. Generally, when you give a chart, the chart gives a display like this. It will not be perfectly synced with your rows and columns. If you want to sync the rows and columns, press the Alt button and use the edge of the keyboard, the mouse, and then drag it. So you can just see that now it jumped to the right list. Again, like pivot table, you need to do some basic corrections here. And I do it in this way, so it depends upon people how they use it. So I'm going to just use these options. So I'm going to just uncheck this day total. It's irrelevant, and I don't want this total. I can either manually type it here, or I can say I want to choose this pivot table or pivot chart. So I'm going to just click this button. So it should not be a dotted line. It should be a complete line. Go to your formula bar, give an equals, and select your pivot chart in here, and give an enter. You can see automatically do this. If you want some other cell, then I can just choose the next one. I'm going to use an R2 so that it can give you all different. If we want to put them all together as one, so I'm going to just say this, and I'm going to say I'm going to join them by doing this. So now I want this as a header, so I'm going to choose S2, not R2. You can see pivot chart, and if I want to add maybe an hyphen in between instead of space, I can do that. If I want even more clarity in it, so then I can add a space before my hyphen and after my hyphen. Then it's going to give you the list here. Now I got my pivot table here. Now I'm going to adjust this. I don't need the background line. I'm going to click the background line and delete that. And you can see that now I got a pivot table nicely, and I have a chart next to it. If I have the numbers on top of this bar, that will be nice. Again, it's readable. You can say so. The top month is January and the bottom month is February, but you cannot compare the March and the May. There is not a big difference. You can see a slight variances are there here and there. So we need to work on that part. So now I'm going to just add this plus. If you're using 2013 version and above, you can see the plus automatically comes in place here. If you're using below than that, then you have to use the page layout option. So in the top, you can see that you have the list here. So you will get even the layout option here. You can add that labels there. So now I'm adding a label here. You can see that the data are perfect. Now if I reduce the size to a lesser than the normality, then you can see that it's automatically switching in. Again, if my data is a growing data, then I'm going to keep this chart at this size. Then the problem really arises, because if I add 2 or 3 more months to my data, that is where my real problem starts to. So I'm going to work on that part, and let's see how I'm going to do that. So now if I want to reduce this and you want to make it look better, so now the values are in thousands. So if I can put them in thousands, that would be even better. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just right click this option and go to my format axis. You have to go through this video more than once, so probably you may not follow me exactly with me. Don't try to do it with me. Try to see the complete video and then start. That will be better. And the display unit, you can choose this as thousands. So now the data are far smaller. So if I add 2 or 3 more columns, I will not feel it as a bad part. I can accommodate probably another 2 or 3 columns in here very clearly. Now finally, I'm going to do one more logic here that is called slices. And this is a version, this is a logic that is there only after 2010 version. Before that, we don't have slices, and the slices have improved drastically. The slices are very, very different right now compared to the 2010 version. So I'm using latest version, so I don't have a problem. So a slice is nothing else. You can see a filter here. The same filter can be added to my list here. It's far more easier to access than accessing this filter. Sometimes if I don't want this filter, I'm going to just give a right click here, and then I'm going to decide, please hide all the field buttons out of the chat. So all my buttons are gone now. If I give a Control Z, you can see that these buttons are coming up. I don't want them back again. I'm going to say Control Y. Now I'm going to add a slicer for the month. I'm going to place either the cursor in the pivot table or in the chart to add a slicer. So I can click this. You can see that you have a list here. So I'm going to go to the pivot chart analysis, and here you can see an insert slicer. This happens even when I go down to my chart. Instead of chart, I'm going to go table. Then you can see that pivot table analysis, and you can see an insert slicer. I can see all the three of the data that I had earlier. So I'm going to add month. Given OK, you can see that it's giving you all this. If you're using 2010 version, you will see all these non-available months also. Probably you may not be able to hide them. If you're using about 2013 version, probably you can hide them by giving a right click. Go to the slicer settings. And then I'm going to just add the hide item with no data and give an OK, then it disappears all. And I don't need a bigger thing like this. If I can put them, two of them in here, that will be better. So I'm going to choose the columns in the slicer tab, and I can make it as 2 or 3 and make it smaller. If I wish to match my chart or match my chart with my slicer, I can choose a color here. Now I got my slicers. And I click January. My data is going to switch to February. Switches. If I want to do it another way around, so I can just click the multi-selection option, so I can uncheck whatever data that I don't want. If I want to check it instead of unchecking it, then I can just press the shift button and then click Jan, February, and March. Or we can see that I've removed all of them, clearing it. So I'm going to select Jan, and then press the shift button, Feb and March, leave it as it is. Automatically, it shows that alone. If you want all of them back again, just clear your all the data that you built earlier will all be back. This is a part of our interaction. So I try to create one small pivot table and one chart in it, and another slicer here to improvise it. So let's see how to do this even better with a real time data. So this time we are about to see how to work with the real time data in here. So this is our subsequent logic called how to build a dashboard using the pivot table. We need a data for that. So let me bring in a data that I already have with me. So I'm going to just go back to my data here. And I'm going to just take this data. And I'm not going to work in a separate sheet. I'm going to bring this sheet to my list. I'm going to just say move or copy and bring it to my pivot table classes. And then I'm going to just add this as a copy of it. And I'm going to rename this copy as real-time data. In here, I have somewhere around 1,938 line items of data. And I have somewhere around 10 columns of data here. Now I'm going to build a pivot table. Remember, when you are building something like this, when you're creating a real-time pivot table, please do remember, don't try what I did in my previous logic. So I've had the data and I had even my pivot table charts and slices, all of them in one single sheet. Don't ever try to do this because you have a large data here. We are about to create a dashboard. And I'm going to follow this. First one, I'll do it very slowly. The rest of them, I'll do it faster so that our video will not be way too longer for you to learn. It will be a little shorter video. Again, this video will touch nearly an hour, I think so. Already we have crossed a good time limit now. Let's see how to go forward for this. So you can use the same shortcut key again, but this time I'm going to use one more line. I'm going to say Alt NV. It selects the whole data for me, and it shows me pop-up and says this is the data that you have as a range, and would you like to create it on a new sheet? Please yes. I'm going to give an OK, and it automatically adds it to a new sheet. But unfortunately, when I did that, it is adding a sheet before my data. Let it be, I can move that here and there. But what I want right now is I would like to create an agenda first and then follow that later. So I'm going to just create an agenda for my reporting. So I'm going to just say these are the 5 logic that I wish to see. I want to see yearly sales. I have data from 2015 to April of 2020, and I wish to see sales rep wise sales, then customer wise sales, and product wise sales, and city wise sales. So these are the 5 dimensions I wish to add to my agenda. So now I got the list. So let's add these data one by one. My first sheet is given as sheet 6. I'm going to say yearly sales. Then drag it after to my real data and add the date here. If you're using the older version of it, you may not able to group them. This data will not be grouped automatically. You will only get data like this, or maybe data like the numbers data that we saw here. So now you can see that it is automatically grouped for me. I want only yearly sales here, so I'm going to just uncheck all of them and make this data a little bigger. And as usual, I'm going to go back to my data, report layout, and show in tabular form, and select all of them and right click value field settings. Now I'm going to name this as sales turnover. I'm not going to use the cheat codes of giving a space in here. And I will choose the number format here and choose the currencies and give an OK. Now I got my pivot table ready. Now I wish to do a chart here. Immediately I'll add a chart here. As I told you earlier, I'm going to just make it a little faster. Then I'm going to just adjust them, remove the unwanted fields and the other formattings. And now I'm going to name this chart as yearly sales. Then I'm going to just bring that to my list. So I'm going to click the total, go to the formula bar, give an equals and select the header. Here we go. Then I am going to add my data label. Again, my data label is going to be horrible because I have a larger number here. I'm going to convert this format access to billions. It is not showing according to the Indian point, but again, we still follow millions nowadays. So now the data are switched to this list. Now I got my first agenda data. Now I want to add. So let's place the cursor here again, Alt NV, and a new sheet is required. Let's add a new sheet on sheet 7. Rename this as sales rep sales. And then check the sales rep, check the sales, and make it a little bigger, and do the following formats. Design, report layout, show in tabular form, select the amount column, right click, and then go back to the value field settings. Again, I'm going to just use the sales turnover and number format, currency, okay, and okay. And I place the cursor anywhere, hit an Alt F1. Here we go. Then I'm going to just edit the unwanted fields here, and I'm going to name this table as sales rep sales as added to my worksheet. I'm going to make some formatting changes. Click the total, go back to your formulas and add. And then now I can add a data label in here. As usual, I have a glitch in here. Go to the format axis, convert the display into millions. So it will be similar to the previous chart. Just change the color of the chart alone. Just click the charts here and go to your design and change the colors to something else. Changing it to orange, that's nice. Now I got the list, so I'm moving the sheet afterwards. The next dimension is customer wise sales. Again, Alt NV. Okay, customers, sales, make the data a little bigger. Design, report layout, show in tabular form. Select the whole data, right click value field settings. change it to sales turnover. I could have copied and pasted it, so I didn't copy it. I'm typing it every time. Number format, currency, and then give an OK and an OK. Place your cursor on customer. Hit an Alt F1. Remove unwanted fields and columns. Make the data a little bigger, and add the data label. Change the data formatting so that the data looks better for us. So millions right now. And then I'm going to just name the header here, customer sales, and then rename the chart header by, I wish to change this to, so go back to my pivot chart analysis, sorry, design, change color, go back to the third option. So now I'm going to rename the sheet also as customer sales, drag them, put it on the rightmost part of the sheet. We have two more, so let me add one more again. Alt NB, and new sheet. This time I'm planning to go for product by sales, and yeah, make it a little bigger. Design report layout show in tabular form. Choose the sales column, right click, value field settings, and again I'm typing it. Let me copy this time. Then go back to the number formatting, currency, okay. Then place the cursor in here, Alt F1, and remove the unwanted fields, and give a name to it, product sales, merge the text, and convert the chart text to this. Now I wish to change the color here, so come back to the design and adding a different color, and then add the data label and format the data label. Perfect. So now I got my list. I gave 5 as an agenda, but I'm stopping with this with 4 because the video is a little longer. Probably we may feel it is tough for us to follow it. I'm going to just move it to the right. Now I got all my 4 charts. But our agenda is to create a dashboard, and that too an interactive dashboard. So let me add one more sheet in here, and then just create or name it as dashboard. I will call this as sales dashboard, even better. Drag it to the last data here. Now I'm going to move each and every charts alone. I'm going to leave the pivot table as it is. Give a right click here, and I can just say move chart. And please chart has to be moved to the sales dashboard. I got my list here. So let me remove the grid line so that the chart will look better for me. I'm going to go back to my view, and I'm going to just say remove grid lines. So now I can see a blank space on the hand. To improvise it, I'm about to add one word art here. I'm going to call this as sales dashboard. Maybe I'll add interaction a little later, interactive. And then just drag this to the top. So now I got a header here. I don't have enough space, so let me just add this first. If you feel this is too bigger, you can reduce the size here. So I'm just having this as my first list. Then I'm going back to the next part. Give a right click, move the chart, move to the dashboard, and okay. Then place them next to it. If you can, adjust them, adjust the height and the width a little bit so that the chart will look better. And I have a customer point, but this is a little bigger chart, so I'm going to put them below. So you can choose how it is better for you. So I'm going to put them all below here. Then reduce the size to 90 and then make it as big as possible. So I can cover both the charts here. The chart takes a shape right now, And finally, I'm adding my final data part here. So now I'm adding the last and final part. Make it taller and longer. So put some extra and make it longer. So now I got all my data here. So let me make the view to 95%. Let's see whether it is okay for us. Yes, looks fine for me. I got my data, or I got all my data. Again, it is a static report, right? I said I'm about to create a sales dashboard. It is interactive. That means I'm going to make it dynamic. If anybody wants to see what is the total sales happened in sales rep, product and customer in the year 2015, when you click 2015, I want the entire data to change. This click changes can happen only when you have a slicer. So let me add a slicer based on one chart. I don't want to do it with multiple points, because if I do it one by one, I have to choose each and every chart and then build a slicer. Instead, I'm going to just place the cursor in one of the point, go back to my analyze and click the slicer. Here I want only 4 slicers here. I need a product slicer, I need a year slicer, I need a sales rep slicer, and I need a customer slicer. I give an OK. It's going to come in a weird way. So I'm going to just adjust them according to it. Let me just drag all of them, and I'm going to make good use of them. So I'm going to just bring the list here. So wherever I don't want an unwanted field, I'm going to clear that in the settings and make them into 2 or 3 columns. This is my yearly part. Let me color them so that it's going to match my data. I'm using what are the colors that are there in the slices. So when you use it, you will understand how it's going to go and work for you. So now I'm going to add the next table, make it as 2 columns. Yep. Make the adjustments, then we can see them all perfectly. This is a sales representative. Sales representatives are in orange. I don't think I have an orange here. Okay, relevantly picked up one. Perfect. So now I'm going to just bring in the customer and make that as 2 columns. Yes, nice. Half the way through of data is enough for us. And I'm going to bring the product and make it as 2 column and then make it a little bigger. So if I want to make it even bigger, you can do it. I'll just try to match it at the max possible. Then I'm just adding color to it, adding color to it. So now I got all my data in there. But if I touch any of the products right now, all my data will only move on my sales year turnover. Nothing will happen in other charts, because as I told you earlier, I'm using, or I brought all my slicer based on my single chart. This is where my connectivity is going to play a major role. So I want to improvise it. So I'm going to give a right click in the slicers and go to the report connection, add all the 3 charts. I have to do this for all my charts so that all my charts will work simultaneously with other charts. So you can see all these 3 of the data are added. Now my interactive chart is ready. So let me bring the data a little lesser. So make it smaller one, a little lengthier. This is not too bigger. So when I click the Apple 11 now, you can see the entire data are changing. And if I click 2020 mobile, you can see the data are changing in all the data. 617, you can see this, how this has come into play. I have only 2 decimal positions here, so it's not showing me the other component here. So if I can add 3 decimal positions here, probably my data would have been even better. So I'm going to just clear all these data. I can click any data that I want. So if I click one of the sales rep, you can see the total sales rep sales the last 6 years, and by the product, by the customer list, and which year he performed really well, and what has happened for this year. Again, in this year, we are having only data until April. We have another few more months to go, so we can see the data very clearly. His bad performance has happened on 2018. His good performance is on 2016. and averagely he performed really well. He touched the 3 lakh mark in almost all the years that is possible by him. So now I can just take up even one product here. So I can see that total product sales is 21 million in here, and you can see the breakup of the sales rep here and customer. If I want to pick up any customer by sales, I want to know what I've sold it to Purvika, and I can see that my total sales was $10 million. 10 million values of sales is done on Purvika on the following products with the following sales rep following years. And you can see that averagely they have made around 2.2 million or averagely $1.75 million of sales, or 1.7 million rupees of sales have been done so far. So this is how we will create a basic and interactive dashboard. Hope you learned something new. This is a little time consuming logic, so take your time. Go through the video more than once. If you want, download it, subscribe it, and like it. So you are going to get everything better from now on. So we have done one of the finest point. I've jumped in the course content. Earlier, I said I'm going to go on a continuous basis, but I'm making people wait a long time to read this data. So now what I did is I just jumped almost to the last program. So we have a few more components, how to print something in Excel. We will be seeing that in our upcoming videos, and we'll be having shorter videos. Probably we will finish our Excel beginner series 1.0 soon. So we have a few more videos to cover. I have some formulas and I have formattings to cover. I have to tell you how to print a data, how to use charts. So how many charts do we have in our latest version? How many charts we had in the earlier versions? So which kind of a data can accommodate in a particular chart? So can all the charts can be used in one shot or can be used in another way? So all these components can be checked. And I've jumped to our course content. So I've just gone through properly until the user functions. And I've left the formatting. I'm doing the format now and then. I didn't touch the conditional formatting yet. We have printing to go forward. And then now I jumped directly to the course fag end where I'm talking about pivot table here. So complete pivot table and dashboards are done. So I'm dealing with a few more topics here. So I want to touch the formatting. Few formulas are still left. Printing of a data, how many charts and how to format a chart, and how to work with managing a large data set. So we'll be touching a little bit of Power Pivot and Power Query in our basic beginner series. If you have further doubts, you can ask me. I can give you a feedback on it, or I can create a new video on that one. Hope you enjoy my video. This is Vinod signing out. Happy learning. I'll try to add one more video today. Thank you so much.